We take a look at those stories in detail now. The Deputy Prime Minister of Japan, Prime Minister and his delegation were received on arrival by Minister Basil Rajapaksa. Minister Dayashuta Thisera, Deputy Minister Niomal Pereira and the Sri Lankan Ambassador in Japan, Vasanta Karanagoda, also attended the occasion. The Japanese delegation will inspect development projects being implemented with Japanese assistance and the overall development in the post-conflict period. The Japanese Deputy Prime Minister is scheduled to meet President Mahinda Rajapaksa in Kandy.
The European Union delegation visiting Sri Lanka at present said that the recommendations of the LLRC report provide a positive approach for building the areas destroyed by the war. They made these comments at a media conference held in Colombo today. The delegation visiting the South Asian region arrived in Sri Lanka on the 30th of last month. The delegation includes 3 parliamentarians from Britain, Spain and Latvia. They visited the Eastern Province and also held discussions with the government and opposition politicians as well as with the representatives of the civil organizations.
Really good work going on at the grassroots, whether that's in provision of schools. Had the pleasure of being at a sort of closing ceremony almost for a project yesterday. I mean, there are a number of other things as well which people have said to us. They feel things are moving, that there's a very good success story they felt in Sri Lanka in terms of some of the Millennium Development Goals, nutrition, maternal health, access to primary education.
International representatives who visited Sri Lanka recently have appreciated the country's development process. Minister Lakshmanyapa Abhevardhana said that Sri Lanka will reap the benefits of these visits soon. The minister spoke about these developments at a cabinet media conference held today. Up to 10 international delegations have arrived in Sri Lanka this year alone. Even the Indian delegation, headed by opposition leader of India, Mrs. Sushma Swaraj, also commended the progress of the North and East development programs. A group of European parliamentarians who visited Sri Lanka recently commended the rapid economic development achieved by Sri Lanka. The President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, and the President of Vietnam, Ton Tan Sang, also commended Sri Lanka's current development activities. The foreign direct investment in Sri Lanka has increased since the defeat of terrorism. Because of this, Sri Lanka has achieved much progress in several sectors. The development in the tourist sector last year amounted to 30%. Over 800,000 tourists visited the country last year. The minister said that Sri Lanka would receive maximum support from the countries which the diplomatic delegations visited Sri Lanka recently. Minister Lakshmanyapa Abhevardhana said that up to 10 foreign delegations, including the delegation from India and the Indian parliamentarians, visited Sri Lanka this year. All these groups visited the northern and eastern provinces. Therefore, no one could accuse the government of not developing the country. The minister said that these groups were given total freedom of travelling to the north and east and were able to see for themselves the facilities being provided to the people of the north and east.
Meanwhile, along with the 2600 Sri Sambuddhata Jayanti, the Vesak celebration, which signifies the triple event of the Lord Buddha, dawns tomorrow. We were able to see some of the expeditiously carrying out of the directions of the pandals and the lanterns and making arrangements for holding dansals in connection with the Vesak celebrations. The Devala Puja Vesak zone will start tomorrow. This is how it's been completed at the moment. The replica of Sri Padaya, which is being erected in the Vesak zone, is 58 feet in height. The lantern and the Bhakti Gi contest will be held from tomorrow at this Vesak zone. The Sri Lanka Rupani Corporation provides the media sponsorship for this Puja Vesak zone. The grand lantern of the Ratmalana Railway grounds is being constructed for the 37th time this year. This year's lantern depicts the stories of Nanagiri Damanya and Devdat Therud Galperalima. The lantern will be exhibited until the 13th of this month. The Grand Vesak Lantern is organized by the Engineering Corps of the Sri Lanka Army along with the Civil Defence Department and the Central Cultural Fund for the first time, and it will be exhibited from tomorrow onwards. This lantern, constructed based on the Nala Parajataka, will be in exhibition at the Sri Vijayasrama Buddhist Centre. Meanwhile, the acting chairman of the Sri Lanka Transport Board, L.A. Vimalaratna, said that 500 buses will be deployed in special service from tomorrow and additional buses will be deployed based on the requirement. The acting chairman said that there will be several pandals in Colombo from the 6th to the 12th of this month. Buses have been deployed for people coming to see these pandals and to visit temples. These buses will be operated until 1 a.m. If there are people even after 1 a.m., the SLTB is prepared to deploy buses for the convenience of these commuters.
In keeping with the National Vesak Festival, students in several schools throughout the country have observed SIL. The Ministry of Education said the objective of the SIL observance programs is to inculcate compassion, kindness and virtues in children to build a virtuous society. SIL observance programs were organized in several schools, including the DSN Nayaka College in Colombo, and Education Minister Bandula Gunawardena inspected the SIL observance campaign at the DSN Nayaka College. Along with the students, many teachers also observed SIL. Meanwhile, students of some other schools observed SIL in nearby temples.
And in other development stories, the reconstruction work of the 18-bed Mahayangara Kandy A26 road has been completed. It will be declared open by the President on the 6th of this month. The reconstruction work of the A26 road was started from Ududumbara in the year 2008. This road has a long history. It was through this road that the Adivasi community came on foot walk from Mahayangana to present Hani to the Sri Dalada Maligawa. It was also through this road that the devotees from Padiyatalawa, Mahaoya have travelled to Kataragama via Mahayangana. During the British period, the 18-bed road was constructed for the transport of rubber from Minipe and coffee from Ududumbara under the upcountry road development project started by Robert Brownrigg in 1820. This road was constructed as a route for the carts. The length of the road is 77 kilometers. This is the most difficult road to travel in Sri Lanka. The sector from Medhanuvara, Udutanna and to Mahayangana has been widened and carpeted. The reconstruction and the reconstructed area amounts to 41 kilometers. It took about 4 hours each Mahayangana from Kandy on this road. This has been shortened now to about 3 hours. All steps have been taken to prevent accidents. Huge boulders, slopes and the bends were causes for accidents. At present, there are only 70 bends on this road now. In widening the road in 1989, one bend was removed. The government has spent 4,700 million rupees for the reconstruction of this road. Compensation amounting to 70 million rupees have been paid to the owners who lost their lands for the reconstruction of this road. This is the shortest access road to the eastern province. 2 observation points have also been constructed. A media conference about this road was held in Colombo today. After visiting the road with the people, access roads and by roads such as Vendaruva, Meithania and Vahitalawa are also to be developed. This was stated by Chief Minister of Central Province Sarath Ekanayaka at today's media conference. Deputy Minister Nirbala Kotulavala and officials of the Road Development Authority also attended the media conference.
The prices of milk powder and gas have been revised. The new prices will come into effect from midnight tonight. This was stated by the Minister Johnston Fernando at a media conference held in Colombo today. The price of a kilo of milk powder, which was 647 rupees, has been increased by 163 rupees. The new price of a kilo of milk powder will be 810 rupees. The price of a packet of 400-gram milk powder, which was 264 rupees, has been increased by 61 rupees, thereby making the new price 325 rupees. The price of a cylinder of gas has been increased by 350 rupees. Accordingly, the price of a cylinder, which was at 2,046 rupees, has been increased to 2,396 rupees. In addition to this, the minister said that cement companies have been granted permission to increase the price of a bag of cement to 70 rupees. Minister Johnston Fernando said that the main reason for the increasing of the price of milk powder was because there is a dispute in purchasing locally produced milk. He said that the price of a kilo of milk powder will be increased by 163 rupees, inclusive of taxes. Meanwhile, at the Cabinet Media Conference today, the Acting Minister of Mass Media and Information, Lakshman Yapa Abhivardhana, also commented on the purchase of milk. Acting Minister Lakshman Yapa Abhivardhana said that the government has decided to increase the purchase price of liquid milk to encourage producers. The attention of the Cabinet has been focused on purchasing the increased production of liquid milk. The Cabinet decided that the Milko institution should purchase liquid milk from the farmers in different parts of the country and use them to produce milk powder. At the same time, in order to protect the local milk producers, it has been decided to immediately increase the tax on the import of milk powder, except infant milk powder and formulas.
With that, we go for a short break. When we come back, we have more local stories.
Welcome back. You're watching the news on Rupavahini. We move on with more local stories now. In a vehicle accident that took place at around 6 a.m. this morning in Galagedara, Paduka, one person was killed and 46 others were injured. The Paduka police said that a private bus travelling from Hambantota to Colombo collided with a lorry that was transporting furniture. The passengers say that the bus driver was driving the bus very carelessly. 40 of the injured persons are obtaining treatment at the Homagama hospital. Four persons have been admitted to the National Hospital. The Deputy Senior Inspector General of Police of the Western Province, Anura Senanayaka, spoke of the details of the accident.
The Cabinet has given approval for a proposal submitted by President Mahinda Rajapaksa to renovate 3 highways in the north-western province. This was stated by the Acting Minister of Mass Media, Lakshman Yapa Abhivardhana, at the Cabinet Media Conference held at the Information Department today.
Accordingly, 38 kilometers of Bangadeniya Adigava Anamadu Road, 11.28 kilometers of Pannala Kulyapitiya B356 Road and 16 kilometers of Kulyapitiya Hettipola Road will be renovated at a cost of 4.4 billion rupees. Cabinet approval has also been given to another proposal made by the President to carpet 60 kilometers of Bibile Inginiagala Road at a cost of 4.6 billion rupees. The Cabinet approved a proposal made by the Minister Partli Champaka Ranavaka to start a project to provide electricity for poor households in Hambantota, Ratnapura and Ampara districts. The Asian Development Bank will provide 3.5 million USD as assistance for this project. The Ranaviru Seva Authority Act will be amended. Approval in this connection was given by the Cabinet to a proposal made by the President. According to the Chief of Staffs of Sri Lanka Army, Navy and Air Force will be included to the Board of Management of the Ranaviru Seva Authority. The Cabinet has given approval for the establishment of a National Wild Elephant Sanctuary in Horopatana at a cost of 250 million rupees. It will be named as the Horopatana National Wild Elephant Sanctuary. The proposal in this regard was submitted by the Minister S.M. Chandasena. The objective of establishing this sanctuary is to minimize human-elephant conflict, which has resulted in combined death toll of 312 only in the last year.
Well, we take a look at the trading details on the Colombo Stock Exchange today. The oil share price index decreased by 14.03 points to close at 5,375.40 0.44 points, while the Milanka price index also decreased by 8.33 points to close at 4,815.45 points. Daily turnover was recorded at 0.4 billion rupees today. That's all the local news we have for you. Foreign news is coming up next. Welcome back. You're watching the news on ru10. Foreign news now. At least 12 people were killed and over 90 injured in two blasts carried out by suspected suicide bombers at a police post on the outskirts of Makhachkala, the capital of Dagestan in Russia's troubled North Caucasus today. The first suicide bomber detonated a bomb when police stopped a vehicle to check documents. A statement by the National Anti-Terrorist Committee said. The second explosion came when fire brigades and ambulances arrived, causing additional casualties. A witness at the scene said a fire truck was reduced to charred wreckage. Anxious relatives gathered outside the Republican Hospital in Makhachkala to hear news of those brought for treatment after the attacks. Local investigators said they had found the remains of a man and a woman suspected of being the suicide bombers. The attacks fell just 3 days before Vladimir Putin, who sent troops 12 years ago to crush rebellion in Chechnya, is to be sworn in as president.
Meanwhile, two Chinese Navy missile destroyers left Hong Kong today after a 3-day public viewing. The People's Liberation Army Navy missile destroyer Heikou and frigate Yongchen sailed into Hong Kong's Victoria Harbour on Monday after a months-long escort mission in the Gulf of Aden. In more than 5 months, the two ships had escorted some 240 vessels, including 34 from Hong Kong, protecting them from pirate attacks in Somali waters. More than 8,000 Hong Kong residents visited the two ships over the past 3 days, ending yesterday. It was the second time that the PLA Navy's escorting mission ships was made a port call to Hong Kong since China began deploying naval ships for the escorting missions.
Good evening. Welcome to the sports news with me, Chamindi Samarasekara. The new chairman of the Track and Field Association, Major General Dayaratnayake, said, other than cricket, track and field is the event that has potential of winning international medals. Addressing a media conference in the Sports Ministry yesterday, he said that it is his objective to create best sportsmen and women in this field. Chairman of the Track and Field Association, Major General Dayaratnayake, said that a national track and field plan will be formulated with the participation of veterans and best players in the country in order to have a better management in the national, district and provincial level and select best players who can bring honour to the country. The rowing boat team of Israel has said that it is their expectation to win the gold medal for the rowing boat event at the London Olympics. They won the gold medal for the rowing boat event in the Greek Olympics. However, the Olympics held in China, they won only the bronze medal. The Australian team participating in London Olympics has selected green and white traditional uniform as their official uniform for the Olympics. 400 sportsmen and women from Australia will participate in the Olympics. They expect to win the highest number of gold medals from the swimming event.
Well, that's all the news we have for you tonight. Do join us tomorrow at the same time for more. Until then, it's a very good night and a very peaceful Vesak weekend for all of you.
Good night.